I'm Randy Rosenblum. My co-host is with me tonight, Tarek Fatal from SB Live. Love Tarek. He had a little vacation last week, and I'm glad to have him back in studio. We do have some breaking news tonight. Raul Lara is the new football coach, just named a couple hours ago, at Mater Dei. Raul Lara had great years at Long Beach Poly. He's been at some other schools, but he won 5 CIF Division I championship as a Jackrabbit head coach. Now takes over for the Monarchs.
Well, there's a tie here. So Michael Brennan, the new president at Mater Dei, was previously the president at St. Anthony, where Lara was just recently coaching. So yes, known more for his 5 CIF championships at Long Beach Poly, the last one coming in 2012. He beat Mater Dei, by the way, in that game at Angel Stadium. Then he was at Warren High School for a little bit. Then he was an assistant at Servite. Then he was recently the coach at St. Anthony. Michael Brennan is the president at Mater Dei. They'd say no more McManus. They bring on Lara. Lara's the new guy.
Frank McManus wins the CIF championship, the state title. He's gone. Lara's the new guy. We'll have more football news a little bit later, talking about the NFL draft. Also, baseball tonight. We're going to talk Garfield Bulldogs baseball. Their fine coach is with us, Ruben Torres, and his fine pitcher, the senior, the left-handed pitcher, Manny Sanchez. All right, let's talk baseball. Let's talk Corona. They're the top team in Southern California. They just swept Centennial 3 games this week. Ethan Schiefelbein, another shutout for the Panthers.
Yeah, they won the Big Eight League Championship. You know, Corona Centennial, not just a great football and basketball school, but really, really good baseball program this year. I've got them in the top 10, top 12 just about every week. They move up and down. Very, very formidable team that'll make some noise in the playoffs, but Corona is dead eye for that number 1 seed in Division I playoffs.
You know, it's funny, Mater Dei is struggling in the Trinity League, but when they get outside the league, they win games. And they already won the Boris Classic in Southern California. Now they go up north to Santa Clara, knock off Granite Bay. Brody Connors has 3 hits.
That's right. So the Boris Classic has a northern tournament and a southern tournament, and then the north winner plays the south winner. So Mater Dei is basically the Boris Classic California champion.
Great honor, but they got to start to win some baseball games in the Trinity League down the stretch. Speaking of the Trinity League, let's talk about Orange Lutheran. They get by St. John Bosco. And this is just a little bit of taste because these teams are playing series. You can see that Derek Curiel had the walk-off hit in the 7th inning to win the game for Olu. How about Santa Margarita? They came back. We're just talking about Mater Dei. In the league, they get shut out. Cade Townsend can really throw it. He is a tremendous pitcher for the Eagles.
Townsend is in the conversation for pitcher of the year. Schiefelbaum at Corona is the other one. You know, there's some other guys out there, but Cade is doing he's definitely an all, I can tell you right now, he'll be an all SB Live type selection. Santa Margarita, that Trinity League team, Orange Lutheran's going to win it. I think Santa Margarita is probably going to be number 2. Jay Serra's still in the mix. It's from top to bottom very competitive.
Now, Westlake won the Marmoni League championship, but they struggled with Oaks Christian. Oaks Christian beat them twice, had one really tight game, the 3-2 game, as you can see here.
So Oaks Christian won the first 2 games, as you see, one score here, and then Westlake got the 3rd game of the series to clinch the Marmoni League title. I'll be honest with you, I don't know if Oaks would have won the series. Does that give them the lead? So I have a feeling Westlake just needed to win 1 game this week, to win the Marmoni League title, and it came on their last matchup. So the Warriors are Marmoni League champions.
Yeah, Dylan Volantis won the game for Westlake. He pitched a shutout, pitched a 1-hitter, and that's why they won the league title. He 1-hit Oaks Christian in the final game. Let's move to the city baseball, where our guests are going to join us momentarily. Garfield split with Legacy, the other strong team. Well, there's actually a couple other strong teams in the Eastern League. Here, they win the first game 2-1. That was the first run Garfield gave up in 7 games. They had a 7-game winning streak. It got snapped earlier today. 1-0 they lost at Legacy.
Yeah, you know, the city section's interesting. We've been keeping track of it all year long. I think Birmingham, in my opinion, is the top team. Granada Hills as well. The West Valley is very, very strong, but there are teams like Garfield and Carson. And now Legacy seems to be creeping up. I know that Legacy beat Garfield today 1-0.
Yeah, and now we're going to turn our attention to Garfield. The Bulldogs have won a city title in recent years, for head coach Ruben Torres. He's going to join us now. He's got another fine team, obviously. Ruben, I know you lost today, but still you have to be pleased. You got the split with Legacy, and you're still in a position, if you can get by Bell down the road, to win the league title. You got to feel good about your baseball team in 2024.
Yeah, we felt good about it since the beginning of the year. I didn't know how the pitching was going to hold up, but the guys have been really competitive, really throwing a lot of strikes, and our defense has been able to make some plays. So our sticks get a little quiet sometimes, but I'm sure every team goes through that. But I really like our competitive spirit. Like I said, it was a tough one today against a solid guy on the bump over at Legacy, but those are things that come with a season, and I'm just going to try to move on to the next. And we got Marshall next week, and then we finish off league with Bell, who if they won today, they'd be a game up in first place.
Coach, I know most teams have goals, right? You have goals. You want to win. You want to maybe get through your non-league at a certain win. You want to win your league. You want to continue to have a postseason run. Is making the open division playoffs specifically a goal for this Garfield team?
I think I don't look at it necessarily in terms of divisions. You always obviously want to play at the highest level every year. I thought we had a chance to be competitive in the Open, but right now, I think our goal is ahead of us, and that's not guaranteed. But I think our ultimate goal every year is to be playing our best baseball to give ourselves a chance to win a game at Dodger Stadium. That's always the goal. I mean, obviously, you want to win as many games as you can, but you definitely don't want to be playing. You'd like to be playing your best ball going into the last weeks of May.
Coach, you did something with this team I've never seen before. Going into the Legacy Series, you only gave up 1 run in 7 games, and it went for 6 straight games where you didn't allow a run. You had 6 straight shutouts. Obviously, you have a terrific pitching staff, but have you ever been involved with a team that went through such a streak with great pitching like that?
We've had some pretty good pitchers in the past, but these guys have really pounded the strike zone. And credit to them, and also credit to the guys making plays behind them. We don't have any, high 80s, low 90s guys that are just going to shut people down. So we really rely on being able to be fundamentally sound defensively, and that starts with our guys not giving up any free stuff. Today, I think the run that was scored on us today, we had a guy 2 strikes, and we hit him. Not purposely, and then we had him picked off, and that was the unearned run. So even we had those 6 shutouts, plus we had the 2-1 game and the 1-0 game. Both of those runs were unearned. So that goes to show you, I mean, we technically we could be riding 8 in a row already. So the guys are doing their job on the bump. They're giving us an opportunity to be able to win some ball games.
Ruben, I think when it comes to the city section athletics, Garfield is one of the most community-driven schools. I mean, it just the football games, the basketball. I mean, just Garfield. Fans are going to show up. There's going to be spirit. There's going to be pride on the field or on the court. How important is that to you in your baseball program? And you're in your 15th season.
It's extremely important. And then with us, obviously being able to get actually a field on campus last year and being able to break that in, I'm really excited for our players to be able to experience that, because I know in the past, I mean, obviously we had to go off campus, and we do have a good following. But I think all of what you mentioned, Tarek, is a byproduct of the hard work that the kids put in. I think we try to do a good job of leading them and trying to guide them in the right direction. And then obviously our administration at Garfield understand that they don't make a separation between athletics and academics. Obviously academics is an extreme priority, but we're a California distinguished school, and so we don't want to say, a lot. I was the athletic director for 7 or 8 years, and sometimes I run into other ads, and we have conversations about athletics and academics, and it seems like some of the ads take a side, and they'll make comments such as like, oh, our administration, they're not focused on athletics. We have the academic piece, and I'm thinking, man, if you ever coach or play sports, you know how intertwined those two things are. And when we preach to the boys that it doesn't have to be mutually exclusive, right? You can be a great athlete and a great mind. It doesn't have to be one thing or the other. And I think that trickles down to the boys, and like you said, in all of our athletic programs. And I think our community sees that and they appreciate it.
Well, we saw that community just a couple of years ago when you won a championship at Dodger Stadium. Coach, good luck this year, especially going down the stretch in the Eastern League, and we hope to see you in the playoffs and just maybe in the finals at Dodger Stadium. Best of luck.
Let's hope so. Appreciate you guys having us on. Thank you.
All right. Coach Ruben Torres at Garfield, they got a great program every year in the city section.
Yeah, I love what he said. I love he's right. You can be a good student and a great player. It's not like one or the other. I love that. Mutually exclusive. That's exactly right. Both can be true at the same time.
I love this part of the show. Talks SB Live top 10s. And first the southern section, then we'll get to the city section. Corona's on top. We just mentioned earlier in the program how they won the 3 straight against a very good Centennial team. By the way, Centennial has 20 wins in the regular season. That's the most they've ever had in the program's history, underscoring how good Corona is this year.
Yeah, that's right. And I think what I'd like to say is as we get here towards the end of the year, my football top 10, my basketball top 10 always seem to have a curse at the number 1 spot, but not for Corona this year. Not for Corona, but yeah, really, really good high-end baseball here, Randy. Corona, Orange Lutheran, Harvard Westlake, and Santa Margarita, I think all 4 are very capable of going the distance. I do think it drops off a little bit. Huntington Beach, Westlake, so on and so forth. But then I always bring up J. Sarah. This is a team that's not been a juggernaut in the regular season in the past, and they've won 2 out of the last 3 CIF championships at the Division I level, so they're always dangerous.
In the city section, we always have to talk about Birmingham. We mentioned a lot of Trinity League schools in the southern section. Well, the West Valley is the real strong league, and you see Birmingham, Granada Hills, El Camino, 3 of the top 5 in the top 5, and then even Taft from the West Valley is in there. Just a strong West Valley presence.
I'm struggling to remember off the top of my head when's the last time Birmingham won a West Valley League title. But in their reign as the premier team in the city and all those championships at Dodger Stadium, if I'm not mistaken, the last 4 or 5 city championships that they've won have come without winning a league title. So if history serves to be correct, they need to not win the West Valley League title, and then they'll go on to win the Open Division Championship.
Well, either way, I think they have a great chance. They're
They're
a very good baseball team.
I agree.
Let's turn our attention to softball, where Norco had a big breakthrough win over a very good Roosevelt squad, 7-6. This Norco team is a threat.
Yeah, of course. Norco is I would call them like a blue blood of softball in high school, Southern California realm. So they'll always have a chance to win the thing, but I think Pacifica of Garden Grove is the team to beat.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but Orange Lutheran's right there because of Breanne Weiss. Another strong performance. It seems like every week we put a graphic up and her strikeouts are right there. And here's 16 against Mater Dei.
Yeah, she's always in the double digits, and it's just about how high. Is she going to be at 12? Is she going to be at 15? 16 here? Can she get to 18? It's kind of funny to see the strikeout count get so high.
Let's check in and talk a little softball in the city section. It starts with Granada Hills. We don't have a real top 10 because there's really not 10 great teams. There's San Pedro and Carson in the Marine League, but it's really about Granada Hills. Here they beat a Southern Section school 2-1, and then they come back and flex their muscles in league play and dominate Cleveland.
To me, and Coach is not going to want to hear this, but to me, Granada Hills is going to win the city section. No one's going to really come close. And I want to see how far they can get in the regional playoffs if they so choose to opt in. Some of these programs opt out. I'd love to see Granada Hills play Pacifica of Garden Grove.
Well, that sets it up. We bring Ivan Garcia in, his softball team having a great year, 23-2, 7-0 in the West Valley League. He's got a tremendous pitcher in Addison Mormon, just a junior, who's already committed to Lehigh. All right, Coach, are you ready for Pacifica in the regional finals?
Well, thank you for having us, and thank you for giving us that extra praise there. That we would love to try to play Pacifica. We try to schedule every CIF team that's willing to play us. We just want to match up. We want to see what we can do. That's our goal.
Well, first and foremost, you want to try to win the city title. And you were involved with one of the great games in the history of the LA City section. It didn't go your way. You fell behind 10-0 to Carson last season. You scored 10 runs in the sixth, only to lose 12-11. I know that has to be a game where you have great thoughts about your team because you rallied. On the flip side, you didn't win it. So it's got to be a motivating tool for you this year to try to come back, maybe get a Carson or a San Pedro and win the city title. How much do you think about last year's championship game?
I think you put it right on the head. It's a very big motivating factor for us because that's all the girls talk about. We know that we can play with just about anyone, but the only game that matters is that last game. And we didn't finish the deal last year, and we just want to finish this year. We don't take anything for granted. We're practicing hard every day, including today. Practices just to make sure we are ready for that final game. We don't want to overlook anyone, but it's our goal. We haven't won one at Granada. We're due. We need to try to get one.
Coach, talk about the leadership within your team, right? So, unfortunately, you lose a game, but sometimes those losses can kind of really be a learning opportunity for your returners. It almost kind of calluses them a little bit, and now they don't want that to ever happen again. So have you seen that in your team? You kind of mentioned it a little bit, maybe for yourself, but talk about maybe the players in more detail, making sure, hey, we got to stay on it every day because we don't want to get upset.
Yes, our leadership has really galvanized itself. We only graduated one senior, and our core group, this one class that came in a couple years ago with Addison and Sam Sparsa and Jocelyn Jimenez and Lady Brown, and these players together, they are so focused and they're so driven. They're the catalyst for what we're doing right now, what we hope to set up for the future. We want to build the culture. We want to be the San Pedro of the early 2000s, the El Caminos of the late 2000s with Lori Chandler and now what Jody's doing. I mean, we want to be those teams, and it's got to start with them. So our group of girls are just they're working every day. Every day. They're relentless right now.
Coach Garcia, I know you have El Camino tomorrow, and you have great respect for them. The Conquistadors has been as good as any program. Them and San Pedro, years ago, Chatsworth as well, were the best teams in the history of the LA City section. So always when you play El Camino, I would imagine that'll be a test for you, and you're on the road at ECR.
Yes, we are on the road, and El Camino is always good. It doesn't matter. You can throw out the window. We know that they get up to play us. We get up to play them, and it's always going to be a clash. It's a matter of respect when it comes to both those. It's just I think they like playing us, and we just want to challenge you 5-6 times a year. We would.
My last question for you, Coach, a little bit kind of going back. You have played a lot of Southern Section programs this year, and you've beaten a lot of Southern Section programs this year. You are battle-tested. There's nothing you will not see for the rest of the year. Is that different from what you did last year? Because I want to know if this formula this year is going to make you more prepared for anything you might see coming your way.
No, that's the same formula we had last year. We only try to play Southern Section teams. We go to Orange County at the beginning of the year just to play the Cypress and the Villa Parks and anyone that's down there and we went to La Mirada. We want to play these teams. I think that last year's team as sophomores, when you got to that stage, it was a big stage. And hopefully this year, if we get to that stage won't be too big for them. I've taken, this is be my third different pitcher going to the finals. And each time their first step there it's not easy to be in the big stage for the first time out. So hopefully Addison's our leader. We're going to put her in the circle as often as we can. And once we get there, she should be able to handle this year's situation.
Well, Coach, good luck tomorrow against ECR. Congratulations on a phenomenal season. We expect you to be in the championship, maybe against Carson, maybe against San Pedro, but we really believe Granada Hills will be there. Congratulations on a tremendous season.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. Pleasure being here with you guys today.
All right, thanks, Coach. I know you really think they're going to win it.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing anyone's going to knock them off, and not so much because of their dominance, but because of the season they had last year, right? So it's kind of a double whammy. Not only are they talented, but they're kind of, upset about what happened last year. So it's going to keep that edge. They're not going to let anybody come and surprise them.
There's another team from the West Valley. We talk about El Camino, and we talk obviously about Granada Hills, but Birmingham in softball has been really strong. And congratulations is in order for Jim Rose, their head coach, his 400th. There it is, the big 400, not the big 4-0. It's the big 400. 400 wins for Coach Rose in his career.
I don't think it'll happen, but how crazy would it be if Jim Rose won a softball championship? He would have a flag football championship, a football championship, and a softball championship all in one high school season. I don't see the Patriots doing that because I think they will be in the open division and they're going to have to play the likes of a Granada and then the Pedros or the Carsons, but nevertheless, a great coach is Jim Rose.
Yeah, but they are one of the top 5 teams in the city, so you got to give them a shot, and they will be, as Tark alluded to, they will be in the open division. Also, congratulations in order for Iliva Brigington from Oaks Christian. She had 3 homers the other day in a big win. It's actually Ileva. I think that's how she pronounces it. Ileva. Love the name, right? She has 18 homers. She's hitting .575 with the 18 homers, 33 RBIs. And Oaks Christian is another good softball team. We haven't talked that much about them. They're 19-4.
Cheyenne Cole, I believe, is the coach. New coach. I think she's only in her second year. Took over after Pete Ackerman passed away. Rest in peace, Mr. Ackerman. What a funny sense of humor that man had, and a longtime great softball coach at Oaks. But it's actually not surprising. Oaks Christian always has a big-time hitter. They had Maya Brady. Last year they had a girl named Riley McCoy, and now this young lady. Ileva. That's right. That's right.
All right, let's turn our attention. We mentioned the NFL draft early. Caleb Williams, no surprise. USC goes number 1 to the Chicago Bears. There he is. Always off platform, always getting out of the pocket, doing things. That's a great picture of Caleb Williams. All right, it's the number 2 pick who's the SoCal guy. That's Jaden Daniels from LSU, but it's not really from LSU. He's from here.
Correct.
And he goes number 2 to the Commanders of Washington. And I know you brought some video of him in high school.
Yeah, it's nothing I shot. It's huddle video. It's his senior tape. I mean, everything he did was good. I had the pleasure of covering him. I actually went and watched him play. Sierra Canyon played Cajon in the Division III championship in 2018. This is a guy that threw for 14,000 yards in 4 years and 170 touchdowns, Jim. He did everything. He ended up going to Arizona State, was pretty good, obviously transferred to LSU, and is now a Heisman Trophy winner in 2023, correct, of last year, and then now is the number 2 pick overall. Last ad. Number 2 pick this year. Let's not forget, SoCal's been pumping out these quarterbacks like crazy. Last year, number 1 pick, Bryce Young, Mater Dei. The number 2 pick, C.J. Stroud from Rancho Cucamonga. The Southern California is pumping out these quarterbacks, and they're going on to be franchise quarterbacks at the NFL level.
Again, those were the pictures from his days at Cajon when he lit it up. Congratulations to Jaden Daniels. By the way, 6 quarterbacks in the first 12 selections tonight at the NFL draft. All right, let's talk about, they had this camp, the Under Armour Northwest camp in the Great Northwest. I believe it was in Tacoma. was up in the Washington area. Dash Beerley, the quarterback who transferred from Chaparral to Mater Dei, was brilliant. He was voted the best quarterback. And his tight end, Mark Bowman, who we saw last year as a freshman who impressed us. I think he had a big touchdown in the championship game as well. He was great as well. Those two from Mater Dei were great.
Yeah, Bowman's going to be special. Again, I think you're right. He's only going to be a sophomore next year. And if I'm not mistaken, I remember Frank McManus telling us, I think he's a lacrosse player. I think that was like his first sport. Now he's turning into this big tight end, huge young player. But Dash Beerley is pegged to be, the starter at Mater Dei after transferring from Chaparral. He's already a Washington commit. Big body, big arm. Really excited to see what the Monarchs do with him at the quarterback and now new coach.
The other two that were very good were both from Mission Viejo. Their quarterback, Luke Fahey, and their wide receiver, Spafford. Vance Spafford is tremendous. All he does is get open.
Vance Spafford is kind of like a high school Cooper Kupp, man. That guy just is open all the time, and I want to say had like 20 to 25 touchdown receptions this past year for Mission Viejo, which ended up winning, not a state championship, but they ended up winning a CIF championship, if I'm not mistaken.
They did. And Spafford is just getting rave reviews wherever he goes, and this camp was just another one of those times he got rave reviews. And the quarterback is very good as well, Luke Fahey. Speaking of quarterbacks, this was not at a camp, but it was an announcement. Servite signal caller Leo Hannon commits to Michigan State. I got his numbers here. Hannon threw for 2,500 yards, 64% accuracy, 14 touchdowns in his junior season.
Servite is back on the rise. Let's not forget, Troy Thomas had him rolling, right? Mason Graham, the whole nine. They get to the CIF championship. They knocked off St. John Bosco in the semifinal. Troy Thomas, is told, hey, you can't be the coach here anymore. Who moves on? And they had some really bad times, but now they're under a new leadership and they're doing better.
An interesting graphic came out this week from King Drew. I want Tark to get into this. King Drew, here it is. This is what was published. This publishing of CIF Southern Section schools taking players, I think, from the football team. Now, basketball players left as well. The basketball players went to Washington within the city, so it's obviously a football connotation here.
Right. This came from the athletic department's Twitter, and I think you might be right. I think it's alluding to the fact that maybe Southern Section programs are trying to get their football players to transfer. And then ironically, in the same week, if I'm not 2 or 3 King Drew basketball players transferred to George Washington. I need to call over there and do a little reporting on this. But for right now, this is the first time I've ever seen any program, city or Southern Section, pretty much put out there, hey, stop contacting our players. We all kind of know it's happening, Randy, if that makes sense.
Right.
But you generally don't see programs acknowledge it. So this is very interesting.
And very strange. You're right. You don't ever
see what I'm
it
saying?
happen.
Yeah.
No, I agree with it. But he give King Drew some credit, saying, "Hey guys,
sticking up,
hands off.
Yeah,
These are our guys. Don't come here and target our players." Speaking of targeting players, 2 Sierra Canyon basketball players who were terrific last year have committed. Sierra Canyon's Justin Pippen goes to Michigan. He's going to play for the Wolverines. And Isaiah Elohim, who originally went to Arkansas, well, he's now going to go to USC.
Yeah, that was pretty obvious. We all knew Eric Musselman, who was the coach at Arkansas and recruited Elohim, is now at USC. So Elohim's just following his coach, and he'll get to play locally at SC. And, Justin Pippen going to Michigan, I'll tell you what, last year he averaged 4.5 points per game. This year he averaged 16 points a game. I would have never dreamt he was a high major prospect. This year, he absolutely proved it. Congratulations to him.
Yeah. Justin's the most improved basketball player.
No question.
Not only in Southern California.
Maybe in the country.
Maybe in the country, and really one of the most improved players I've ever seen, because I didn't think he could play after his junior year, and he turned it around. And he
was their best player.
He's their best player, but he's a high D1 guy, and he'll play at Michigan State. By the way, winners in volleyball and pool play in the Southern Section last night were Loyola over Huntington Beach in 5, Sean Kelly with 24 kills, 8 in the 5th set, CDM over Edison 3 straight, and Newport Harbor 3 over Mater Dei, 3-0 over Mater Dei over the Monarchs. We got to talk about these jerseys that are up here. The draft. To my left, let's see, I know we have Kayvon Thibodeau.
Correct.
We have C.J. Stroud.
Coach Christian Rancho Cucamonga. And our boy Bryce Young, Mater Dei, number 1 pick last year.
Well, got to have a Carolina Panther guy for Larry, our producer. He loves the Panthers. What about on your side?
Yeah, I got a
You got a mixture.
I got some notes here. Okay, Jaime Jaquez, UCLA standout, obviously.
Basketball,
Camarillo
though.
High School. Okay, we know about him. Clark Phillips from La Habra, now an Atlanta Falcon. He played at Utah. And, of course, Juju Smith-Schuster, Long Beach Poly standout. He's playing for the New England Patriots.
I like Juju Smith-Schuster. He's been on the show. I like Kayvon Thibodeau. He's been on the show twice when he was at Dorsey High School before he went to Oaks Christian, now with the New York Giants. Tark, was fun having you back.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. I know we got a good 5 or 6 shows left before the end of the year. Let's finish strong. I'm looking forward to it.
We'll come up with some good guests. Got a lot of sports in tonight. Enjoyed the draft. Enjoyed everything about this week. Football down the road. We got a lot of good football notes in as well. For Tark, I'm Randy. We'll see you next week right here on SoCal Prep Report. Good night, everybody. Kayvon Thibodeau was just the best when he was at Dorsey.
What were you saying about the Bears?
I love the Bears. They can win the Super Bowl. They got Caleb. They got Rome, the receiver from Washington.
They're talented. There's no question.